Thank you for watching the Solid Sports and Gaming channel. You're watching another edition of the Solid Sports video blog. This is episode 117. Today's date is March 6, 2020. Thank you for joining me. I'm Troy West. Thank you for coming back to the channel. Thank you guys for the patience lately. I haven't been doing a lot of content. I've been trying to get at least one blog in a week like I normally would. Of course, today is Friday. Like I said, I do every other Friday and every other Saturday. To try to work around my work schedule and other things I got going on. I just want to say thank you so much for coming here today. A lot to get into. Go talk a little baseball first, like we always do. I go through the top relief pitchers in baseball. Also update on Chris Sale injury as we get closer and closer to the start of the regular season. NBA. Some news off the court this week with Spike Lee against the New York Knicks. I'll talk about that. Steph Curry made his return last night for the Warriors. And we'll talk about the hottest debate that's been this week. Who would you rather take, Zion Williamson or Luka Doncic? We'll talk about that. NFL news, the CBA is finalized. Now it's sort of in the players' court to sign off on it. To get the CBA done, so we'll see if that happens. They got it to next Thursday to sign. And free agency latest, so more rumors about Tom Brady and other players. We'll touch on that. And the XFL weekend, we'll give you a quick look at all 4 games for this week, week 5 in the XFL. So we'll definitely talk about that. But let's start with our baseball. For the week, I've been doing sort of the last few years I would do a top 5, but this time I didn't really make a list. I just will go through other lists that I've seen online. Of course, I've been on the fantasypros.com if you're a fantasy baseball player, but I think it pretty much indicates who's the best in the game, so I don't think it deviate too much more from that. But we go do top relief pitchers. This list by fantasypros.com, you can go check it out yourself. Of course, this is fantasy baseball. There's a lot of closers here. But I go through the list real quick. They got Josh Hader number 1 though, for the Milwaukee Brewers. I guess it'd be hard to argue with that. Kirby Yates for the San Diego Padres is 2nd. Ronald Champion is 3rd for the Yankees. Roberto Osuna for the Houston Astros is 4th. And Liam Hendricks for Oakland is 5th. Kelly Jansen just outside the top 5 at 6th. Let's just go through some of the notable names. Craig Kimbrell for the Cubs, he's 12th on their list. Let's see, Sean Doolittle for the Washington Nationals, 19th. No other names jump out at me. I'm trying to look for the Yankees reliever. Well, he used to play for the Orioles, but I don't see him on the list at all. They had Drew Miller all the way at 75. So yeah, Jack Britton, that's what I was thinking about. But I guess saves gives you points, so I'm guessing since it's a fantasy baseball list, it's probably higher when you get saves. So maybe that's what it is. But you could definitely argue this list. That's why I kind of wanted to go to MLB.com or something, but they don't have any lists up. But yeah, Josh Hader's pretty good. Can't argue with that. Maybe I should have separated closers, but yeah. So that was all the fantasy list. But you can check out the list or give your opinion. Like I said, nobody really stands out to me as a relief pitcher, but like I said, Chapman does just because maybe he played for the Yankees. But I think relief pitching is sort of been, not saying it's not important, but I think it's more of a team effort now. Like, having a guy for the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning to shut your game down. There's probably a lot of guys you could go to for that. But yeah, I like Hader. I've seen him pitch before as well. So there's a lot of good relief pitchers out there, but I guess you could form your opinion who you think is the best is, but nobody's not 100% reliable like they used to be. But I mean, I guess I can't argue with their list, even though it's a fantasy list. Like I said, it's not actual who's the best list. You know, like I said, I think there's a lot of closers on top because they probably gain, I'm imagining, fantasy points when they get a save. You know, a relief, other relief pitchers, they just get out, so no stat behind it. So that's probably why people like Andrew Miller and Zach Britton was so low on the list. But it was just fun still to look at it and go over it. Like I said, if you got any opinion, just definitely leave some comments, which I don't get a lot of, but like I said, I don't mind interaction with you guys if y'all have an opinion. Other baseball news, of course it's spring training, but the Red Sox Chris Sale had a little setback, so they will shut him down for a week, get him ready for more spring training. But he had a bad year, definitely injury wise, but his stats went down as well. But they said it pertains to the injury, so we'll see if he bounces back next year. Boston going to need him to. You know, David Price is gone, so he's going to definitely be the front man in that rotation. I think Boston's sort of trying to retool. You know, they did get rid of Betts in that David Price deal to the Dodgers. JD Martinez, let's see if he continues what he's done. Still got a nice little young team, but I still don't see Boston. I think it's going to be tough for them to even compete for a wild card this year, but we'll see how things turn out for the Red Sox. But Sale got a injury. I think it's an elbow injury. At least he avoids Tommy John surgery, so that's good news. So they say he should be back. So they're going to shut him down for a week, but he might not do any more action prior to the regular season. So I guess let's move on to the NBA. Steph Curry made his return last night for the Warriors, scored 23 points as they went against the Toronto Raptors, which was an NBA Finals rematch. But of course, the Warriors and the Raptors are pretty different teams this year. Warriors because of injuries, Raptors, of course, losing Kawhi Leonard. They lost a lot of luster, but Toronto's a sleepy team in the East. PL Siakam and Kyle Lowry lead the way for the Raptors. Not a team to sneeze at. They did win the game last night, by the way. I think Steph Curry only played like 20-something minutes. He looks sharp out there, so let's see if he plays the rest of the year. Warriors, a lot of people think the Warriors will be back next year, be back to competitive basketball by next year, so we'll see if that holds true. But they will get Klay Thompson back beginning of next year as he still deal with his knee injury. So we'll see how the Warriors turn out. They got draft picks, so we'll see what they do in this year's draft, or do any free agents come to the Warriors and help to keep that dynasty going. But we'll see. We'll see. It was just good to see Steph back out there last night. And just, you know, some people just imagine what the Warriors could have been without with Steph Curry. Draymond Green, he's probably been the most consistent starter this season, but he's been in and out as well. Of course, Kevin Durant walked, so it's a different Warriors team. But Steph Curry did his thing, so we'll see if he stay healthy. The debate with him was, should he just sit the rest of the season out? I kind of was on both sides of the fence there. I think if they would have decided to shut him down for the season, I wouldn't have no problem with it, but I don't have no problem with it coming back early either, just to get some playing time, get his feet wet a little bit. Like I said, I think they ain't going to overrun him with minutes, so I think it was good for the Warriors and NBA as well. So some drama off the court this week in the NBA. Spike Lee, of course, a long-time Knicks fan, I guess I'll just call it a misunderstanding he had with the Knicks staff, the Knicks organization. So Spike Lee has been a fan for many years for the Knicks. Supposedly the issue was it's a employee elevator that he used to use to get into the arena. Excuse me. Supposedly the Knicks made up some policy, well, according to Spike Lee, sort of out the blue. So they told him he could use the elevator, and it was a big spat about it. Dickie stayed at that game the other night, but he vowed he ain't gonna come back to no more Knicks games this year. And Knicks sent out a statement basically said Spike is over exaggerating, and this was a rule, you know, a policy. But Spike said he been going this way for the last 28 years. We going the same way. Now let me just talk about the Knicks, how I feel about the Knicks. I want to say I'm a Knicks fan, but I used to watch the Knicks in the 90s. The Knicks, the rough, tough Knicks teams. Of course, Patrick Ewing, Josh Starks, Charles Oakley. They got to the finals twice. Well, the second finals they got to. That was the Larry Johnson, Marcus Camby Knicks, with older Patrick Ewing and Allen Houston. But I mean, I even liked that team. But I'm talking about the rough and tough Knicks, the early 90s Knicks. Charles Smith and Anthony Mason, those Knicks, and Starks, and like I said, Patrick Ewing, those Knicks teams. Derek Harper. I'm talking about those Knicks. Well, even I, you know, I had no problem with that. I kind of admired the Knicks. I kind of wish, you know, you give up 2 titles, because if it wasn't for the Bulls, I mean, imagine all the teams. Utah would have definitely won one. The Knicks probably would be in that ballpark as well. Houston was able to get 2 Michael Satt for the 2 years out. But like I said, there's some people criticize. I mean, it's not everybody. Most people is on Spike Lee's side, but there's some people that's not, saying that Spike Lee is just a whiny celebrity that just don't want to get his way. But if Spike Lee said it's true, I gotta go with Spike's side on it, because it's like the communication, which has been a Knicks problem. You know, with the Charles Oakley incident and other incidents with the Knicks, how they handled Kristaps Porzingis and Carmelo Anthony, just alienating your key players or your key, you know, people that's gonna support you. If he said what he's saying is true, if he they did communicate to him about the elevator thing and all that. He said he even went on when he went on First Take, which is, you know, it's ESPN show. It come on every morning, but I used to faithfully watch, still check it out every once in a while. That they wrote a bad article about him in the New York Post or wherever the article was, and he didn't like what they wrote about him, and he's pretty much spoke his mind. So I don't definitely mind doing that. So that's the end of that. I ain't gonna really expound too much on it. Like I said, I'm more on Spike's side. But a lot of people, there's some people that don't see it as a big deal. Think Spike should have just followed the rules, and sad to see. But I think if what he said is true, he was a little bit disrespected as well by the Knicks organization and James Dolan, which gets a lot of criticism, maybe sometimes unfairly. But you gotta know what your reputation is, and you gotta do things differently. And Knicks seem like they just keep making the same mistakes, and I think that's the Knicks' problem as an organization. So, but let's move on to Zion Williamson against Luka Doncic. Of course, they played Wednesday night. Of course, Luka and the Mavs won in overtime. But the debate in this week is who would you rather have, Luka Doncic or Zion Williamson. For me, it's kind of tough. For me. Like, I like both players. Zion, of course, is a slightly high-flying, athletic, big man with a Charles Barkley type build. Can jump out the gym. That's one thing. Luka, more of a traditional point forward. Bring the ball up the court. Can shoot from anywhere on the floor. Great court vision. It's gonna be tough. I've had to choose one. I guess I'll go with Luka right now, maybe because Luka been in the league a year longer. I think Zion, well, Luka has some bumps and bruises, injuries too, but I think Zion, the way he plays, he might flame out a little bit faster than Luka. So I give Luka the slight edge, but Zion is unbelievable. His field goal percentage is real high. Putting up 6-score numbers as a rookie, so very, very tough call, but I guess I'll go with Luka. A lot of people say Luka go with champion. I think both of them are being a little bit too coordinated, just a little bit too soon. They calling Zion the prince of the NBA and all that, and they already giving Luka NBA championship, so I might go that far with either of them, but they both excited players. I think I'll take Luka Doncic though, over Zion Williamson. Let's go ahead and move on to the NBA. I mean the NFL. The CBA is finalized. It's on the table. Just been put over to the players. The players have to decide whether to sign it. They have basically till Thursday, like I said, to sign the sheet. But look like it's going to get done. A lot of people say the players are pretty much like the deal. It's going to be 17 games. I think starting next year it's going to be the playoffs run right in my head. Oh, there it is. So we'll see if they sign. I'm sorry, I'm struggling a little bit, a little tired, so I apologize for that. We'll see if the players sign. They got till Thursday decided that I think to get we have to wait for some reason. It's sort of like a little deadline, so we'll see what happens. Players that spoke out before and against it, so but they say the majority of the players do agree with the deal, so oh man. So let's just move on to the free agent latest. Like I said, I apologize. Actually struggled to keep my eyes open. It was just kind of funny and embarrassing, but I'm not going to edit that. Well, I can't anyway, so I just had to push through it. Of course, the rumors with Tom Brady coming up again. Where is he going to go? I don't know. At first I said I don't see him playing nowhere else but New England, but I'm starting to believe that that's not the case, that he might do move on, but I still feel strongly that he might stay in New England. I think if he does leave, I think Oakland is, to me, is the #1 team to go to. People say, well, no, because you gotta go against Pat Mahomes. Well, you gotta go against Pat Mahomes anyway, so, and I don't see Brady's not taking the place because of another player, so I don't really see that happening. For also other free agents, the Eagles let Peters go. He's gone. So just keep an eye out on it. Of course, it's March, so the new league year is coming up soon. We'll see all the moves. Like I said, quarterbacks in particular. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that could be moved. It'd be a trade, free agency, or something. Let's check out some of the XFL this weekend. It's the Seattle Dragons against the Houston Roughnecks. Houston 4-0. Definitely best looking team. With Seattle coming in at 1-3. New York Guardians versus the Dallas. Really ain't Dallas. And Sunday, St. Louis against DC. St. Louis 3-1. St. Louis 2-2. And the final game for the weekend would be the Tampa Bay Vipers against the Los Angeles Wildcats. And They both 1-3, both their first one of the season. So that's the XFL for the weekend. Let me go ahead and wrap it up. I didn't know I was going to get this tired. Thanks so much for being patient with me once again. Channel update, pretty much nothing new going on with the channel. I did record a Call of Duty video yesterday, so I'll probably put that up. Have you guys watch me play a little free-for-all. Other than that, no video game projects to speak of. Just been playing this game, get killed. That's it. So, that'll do it. I'm not going to hold it up too long longer. I'm very, very tired. I barely can keep my eyes open. It's been a rough week. Don't want to really get into it. Work week, emotional week, just all the way around in my personal life as well. So, just feeling pretty drained. First time I really get able to relax my mind and talk about sports. So like I said, thank you guys. So this wasn't a long video at all. Sorry for me drifting off. And I thank you guys so much for the patience. I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. I want to say thank you so much. Of course, I'll be next Saturday, which will be the 14th. March 14th will be my next vlog. Like I said, next week with the baseball, we're gonna start looking at division by division. I think we're gonna start out East. We're gonna do NL and AL East next week. We'll look at both of those divisions. Talk about each team in the division. And if it's more NBA or NFL news, you'll have it right here. And also look ahead at the XFL. So I'm Troy West. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all your patience. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.